Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for another this and that video. And again, even though the lighting has been fixed in my kitchen, I just thought it would be fun to go ahead and keep shooting some of my this and that videos in here. This time of year, summer, I like to shoot as many out of the kitchen as I can because I spend the winter doing most of them in the kitchen. So anyway, with that in mind, I want to talk about what Mr. Rain did to fix the light. So you saw in my last this and that video where I was talking about the lighting and I was showing that particular light. And initially he had it hung straight from the ceiling by a little a screw, hook that you screw into the ceiling. And it stayed that way for what, at least a year or so, until I tore it down. And I thought, you know what, we need a better setup. And what he did was he put I'll show you a picture right here of how the light looks now. It's actually attached to the wall just above the cabinets and just under the ceiling. And what he did was, in this next picture, you'll see this little clip kind of thing. And what happens is there's a back side of that light that just kind of slips down into that holder, and it holds it very securely. And the cool thing about it is that it's also right where I hang this thing. I got it at a garage sale. I thought it was kind of cute. It came in a set. It actually came in a set of 3, and I think I gave the coffee pot to my son's fiance. But it came with this, skillet looking thing, and I just thought it was cute kitchen decor for really cheap, even though it's plastic. But anyway, when I don't want the light hanging up there, I can simply take it down, which of course means crawling up on the counter, but big deal. And I can just hang this right over the top of it, and it hides that hook, and I can just put the light away. So if we got company or anything, or I'm just tired of looking at that light, I can take it down. So anyway, I was very happy with Mr. Rain's little fix. It's gonna look nicer, and it works better, because even if I just leave the light hanging up there, when the cord is hanging down, it doesn't come across the cabinet door. It hangs straight down between the two, so I can still get into both cabinet doors without the cord getting in the way of the doors and having to worry about tearing the light off again. So, okay, let's move on to the next thing. Now, on the skirts that I make my own tags for all of them. Maybe some people don't realize that. I'll show a picture right here of what the tag looks like in the skirt, in case you've never seen it or never bought a skirt. And all I do is use just pieces of canvas and this, I'm almost out of the original ones that I was using to make the tags. When I first started making the tags, I was using a flannel and then trying to write on them, and it was terrible. It took me forever, and it didn't last long, but this holds up really well. And I just use Sharpies. I use 3 colors. I use the black for writing the letters and the tree trunks, green for the trees, and then the blue for the little raindrop on the eye. And anyway, so I just write right on them and then sew them into the skirt, and it's sturdier. It's going to hold up a lot longer too. And I found this fabric at a garage sale years ago. At the time, I almost wasn't going to buy it because I'm like, I don't even really know what I'd use this for, but it seems like great fabric. And I think it was a tablecloth. Somebody had made this canvas into a tablecloth. And so I just bought it, and then it occurred to me one day to start using it to make my tags for my skirts. And so last garage sale season, I came across this. Now it's darker in color, but similar. And knowing that eventually I was going to run out of the fabric I had, this is enough to last me for a few years of making tags for the skirts and the aprons too, because I put them in the aprons as well. And this looks like it was probably a tablecloth too. Somebody embroidered. I just noticed this. So anyway, I'm going to be today using my pinking shears and cutting out some more tags and getting them ready for sewing into skirts, because I'm constantly got custom orders coming in, and when I don't have custom orders coming in, I'm usually coming up with new colors and designs to put up on the store. And so the skirt making thing is pretty much a full-time job. So while I'm here, I wanted to mention, I've mentioned it in a couple other videos, but it's one of those things I just feel like I cannot recommend enough, because the more I have time to actually sit down and, which is rare, but I've been trying to make time to actually sit down and read. And I've been reading Amy Fuell's Natural Chicken Keeping book that I bought it, I did the pre-order, And I cannot recommend this enough. This is such an excellent book, very well laid out. It talks a lot about how she uses herbs for her chickens. Everything about it is very natural and very realistic approach. It's her own real life experiences as well, and you see how she does it. And I just appreciate this so much and the way it's put together. And like I said, I cannot say enough good stuff about it. And I've only read a part of it so far, and I'm loving it so much. So I will be linking to this below. If you've got chickens or are thinking about chickens, especially if you're thinking about getting chickens, get this to start with and read through it so you'll know what you're into. But if you've already been keeping chickens and you're looking for a more natural way, lots of great ideas in there. And then while you're at it, I recommend getting her herb book. Amy's herb book has become my top favorite now. I have, for a long time, it was Rosemary Glad Stars, and I do really like the layout and the pictures, but I don't like a lot of the lingo that's used in there. It gets kind of into new age stuff and witchcraft, and I try to stay away from that, so I won't even recommend that book anymore. But I do recommend this one highly, highly. Very easy to read, very well laid out. So much good stuff in here, just like her chicken book. Lots of great recipes, how she uses the herbs, why she got into growing them, why she grows them, all that stuff. So highly recommended. And for those who keep asking me to write a book, trust me, I would love to. I would love to write a book. If I do, it's not going to be just on herbs. It's not going to be a one-topic book. It's not going to be just a cookbook of, food items, dinners and stuff. It's not going to be just an herb book. It's going to be an all-encompassing kind of book like our channel is. So talking about how to do this, how to do that, why, and that kind of stuff. It may be quite a while before I get around to doing that, because right now with all the other jobs I have, the skirt making, YouTube alone is a full-time job, and I do have a video I recently put out about that. I'll go ahead and link to it up here. But anyway, that alone is a full-time job, and then my Etsy store is a full-time job, and then on top of that is my garden, just the general chores and stuff, making dinners, canning stuff, putting stuff up, drying herbs, all this kind of stuff. That's like another full-time job. And so at this point, I don't have any extra time left over to write a book, and any extra time I get, I have to take some time to rest. And so it might be a while. I want to do it. I do. And I appreciate people asking. I really do. But it could be quite a while before I get to that point. I got to get things to a point where I can slow down and be able to put time into it. Because, if I decide to write a book, it will mean no more YouTube videos will be made during that time. So just so you know. Okay. And another thing, I just wanted to show this real quick. It was even though it's like way past Mother's Day, it was this cute Mother's Day card I got from my son and his girlfriend, and these little things are three-dimensional. And I just thought it was cute, very garden-y. So I thought some of you garden-y people would appreciate that. And one big thing I wanted to talk about was the vanilla that I started. So my last This and That video, I talked about starting the vanilla with using the wine and the homemade wine and the glycerin. Now it's only been about a week or so since I started this, but so far it's smelling wonderful, and I can tell this is probably going to turn out really good. But I will be doing more updates down the road on this. So once it is completely done, so it'll probably be a couple months from the time you're seeing this video that you'll see an update to this, if I remember. And if I don't see it in a couple months, then ask. Go ahead and put a comment and ask me how my wine-based vanilla extract is going. So again, this is a half and half of, well, probably a little more wine than glycerin. But glycerin, food grade, non-GMO, kosher glycerin, and my own homemade wine. And I used both the blackberry wine and a little bit of the raspberry mead. I couldn't decide which, so I used them both. So we'll see how that turns out. If I like that as much as the other, I have a feeling I'm going to like it better. But the thing is it going to be strong enough? That's the strong enough vanilla flavor, which I think it will, because the smell is wonderful. I can really smell that vanilla. But anyway, so watch for an update on that down the road. Now, what I did with the spent vanilla beans that I'm going to start doing from now on is usually I'll just drop them into the next batch and add fresh beans to it. But what I'm going to start doing, it smells so good, is taking the spent ones and cutting them up into little pieces, and I've been throwing them in my teas, in my herbal teas, just for that little extra vanilla flavor, and that way I don't have to use my vanilla extract to add that vanilla flavor. I can just use the beans directly and let them simmer in there with my herbs. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about is my homemade shampoo. Now this looks a little, might look a little funny, but so my shampoo turns out, when I make it, it turns out different every time. This one is really runny, and it looks like the soap pieces have all kind of separated, but it works great. And then I've had some of my shampoos that I've made that turned out really, really thick. And it seems like even though I use the same amounts, I just never know what to expect. But either way, even when it turns out runny, it's still just as soapy as the one that's really thick. Thicker ones are obviously easier to use than the ones that are runny as far as that goes. You know, you can't just do like you do with a store-bought shampoos where you pour it into your hand and work it into your hair. What I do is actually put it in a little squirt bottle and I water it down with some water. So I'll put about this much in, water it down, and then I just squirt it over my hair and work it in as I go. And that works really good, and that's how I've been doing it for years. But anyway, my plan is I'm going to be redoing the shampoo making video. And even though that video is doing really good, I want to do a new one with better lighting, but also showing how I make it with fresh herbs. This particular one I made last summer, right at the end of the summer, with fresh herbs, and mostly just calendula, rose petals, pansies, and lavender. And the smell turned out wonderful, and it was just, I really liked it. It just seemed like it had a nicer smell, and I didn't add any essential oils to it. I love the way it smells just as it is. And then when I make that batch, what I have right here, it looks really lumpy because it was setting up quick on me, but all I was doing with this is pure flaxseed oil soap. I didn't add coconut oil or anything else. I had some flaxseed oil I wanted to use up. And so I made this one specifically for making my shampoo with. Now you can use your coconut oil based soap or any other, you know, natural soap you want for making your shampoo, but I'm going to try it with this. The last batch I made, I used a hemp seed oil soap, and that was the other thing, and that I think just kind of helped why I just like this one best of all the ones I've made. Now, one of the questions I get a lot on the shampoo that I wanted to address is that, again, I made this at the end of last summer, so it's almost a year old, and it doesn't spoil. I've never had a problem with it spoiling. However, if you're concerned about it, what I would recommend is adding a little bit of vitamin E oil or even some colloidal silver in replace of some of your water when you're making the shampoo. And if you're interested in seeing the old video, I'll go ahead and link to it right up here, but also be watching down the road. It'll probably be a month or so. I want to make sure I've got all my flowers coming in, which my lavender are getting ready to bloom. And today is actually June 11th, so it will be July when you're seeing this video. By then all my flowers will definitely be blooming, but it'll be at least another month after that before you'll see the video. Unless they're garden updates, my regular videos like this are usually scheduled to publish 3 to 4 weeks after I've recorded them, just like this one. So anyway, be watching for that a couple months down the road. A couple more things I want to talk about is the citrus vinegar. So I just filtered out some of my citrus vinegar. The odd thing was this is actually 2 batches put together. The first one was a pretty light color, and the next one was almost red. And this is how it looks mixed together. It's kind of a dark orange, but boy, it smells wonderful. And what I did do, and of course I have some in my spray bottle. This is what I use for cleaning. So the citrus vinegar I make specifically for cleaning. This isn't the one I use for a hair wash or use in food or anything like that. Besides, it's going to be really bitter. I've tasted it's got a very bitter flavor, but for a cleaning vinegar, it's great. And it smells super nice. So I have a video just on the citrus vinegar I'll link to right up here. But if you're interested in my other vinegar making videos, just look for the playlist. And I would say even though the raisin vinegar and the floral vinegar, the first ones I did, are 2 of my most popular ones, is because they're my oldest ones and they started going viral. I recommend checking out like the calendula one, the lemon mint one, I think it is, and the citrus, because this is how I make my vinegar now. I also, obviously, I do it with fruits too. I do it with whatever's on hand. I use apples, peaches, pineapples, pears, plums, just anything. Blackberry is good, but it's so dark. I don't really like using it because it stains everything. So, and you certainly don't want to use the blackberry for cleaning. Okay, and then I have to make another batch of wintergreen lip balm because Kathleen bought the last of mine. And so anyway, I've got this out to help me remember I need to make another batch, but I wanted to show you this. If you're new to my channel, I do have videos on making your own lip balm. I'll go ahead and link to one right up here. I have a video on how Patrick made this, and he made this specifically for the little lip balm containers to sit in. So when I'm filling my lip balm up, it keeps it solid. Keeps them from flopping around or falling over like I used to do it. Like my very first lip balm one, I was showing it, setting it out on newspaper, but you always had that fear I was going to knock one over, and sometimes it happened. I don't have to worry about it with this. It holds them nice and firm, so they stay in place when I'm filling them. So if you have a woodworking husband or you're a woodworker yourself, look into this video, and if you're also into making your own lip balm and wanting it in sticks, this is the way to go. It's working great. Okay, I had to bring the camera over here because I don't want to slide this over. I wanted to show you this right here. This is a pie tree. Now, our son is getting married in August, as most of you know, and his fiance wanted, instead of having wedding cake, she wants pies. And so they're going to put their special pie right up here at the top. At least I think that's how it's going to work. And then there's going to be several other types of pies sitting around, and there'll be more here and there and other places. So he just finished this up the other day, and so now she's got her pie tree for the wedding reception. Oh yeah, and if you're interested in how other ways that I make my flavored extracts besides just vanilla, I forgot to say this, I have one just on other flavors. And in that video, I was pretty much experimenting, but since then I've been using them. They're great. I love them. The only one was the nut one. The almond one didn't turn out very good. And then I found out that, well, you don't actually use almonds to make an almond extract. So an almond flavor, because this is not strong enough. You use other types of seeds. Like I think apple seeds would work well, but I may try it again in the future. But anyway, all the other ones worked out great. And that was using, well, you'll see if you check out that video, you can get some different ideas and then come up with some of your own of making your own flavored extracts of whatever flavor you want. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.